You ever meet someone who takes their job way too seriously? Like, way too seriously? Well, that's how I met Karen, the self-declared queen of the Maple Street HOA. And me? I'm George Walker, 72 years old, retired truck mechanic, widower, lover of black coffee, freedom, and my old pickup truck. That truck's been with me through 3 jobs, 2 marriages, and more fishing trips than I can count. I parked it right out front, same spot every day, because I like to see it when I open the blinds each morning. Didn't take long for Karen to decide she hated that truck. First came the little pink envelopes. Notice of violation. Vehicle does not comply with aesthetic standards. Aesthetic standards? Lady, it's a truck, not a chandelier. I ignored it. Then the fine started, $50, then $100, then another. Every week like clockwork. I figured if I just kept calm, she'd get bored. But Karen wasn't the type to get bored. She was the type to escalate. One morning I'm sipping coffee, and I see her out there, clipboard, sunglasses, and that permanent smirk that makes you want to check your blood pressure. She's taking pictures of my truck like she's collecting evidence for the FBI. I open my door and say, "Morning, Karen. Need a photo for your scrapbook?" She doesn't even flinch. Just says, "Mr. Walker, you've been warned. That eyesore has to go. It's bringing down property values." I told her, "You know what's bringing down property values? People like you." She didn't laugh. Now, around here, everyone knows Karen runs the HOA like her personal kingdom. Her husband keeps quiet. Her friends nod and vote yes to everything. And the rest of the neighborhood just pays the fines and keeps their heads down. But I've got one advantage. I'm old enough not to care. You can't cancel me. You can't fire me. And I've outlived 3 bosses meaner than her. So I left that truck right where it was. Gleaming chrome, little rust on the fender, and my old fishing sticker on the back window. It was my middle finger to the HOA gods. Then one night, around 11 p.m., I hear this sound. Diesel engine, heavy chain, clanking metal. I peek out my window, and sure enough, there's a tow truck in my driveway. 2 cops, 1 driver, and Karen, standing behind them with her arms crossed like she just won a Nobel Prize. I throw on my robe, grab my slippers, and storm out there. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shout. Karen says, "Mr. Walker, we've given you every chance to comply. This vehicle is being towed at the HOA's request." I said, "Karen, you've got 5 seconds to back away from my truck before I start charging admission to this circus." One of the cops steps forward, polite enough guy, says, "Sir, please, don't make this difficult." I look him dead in the eye and say, "Son, I've been difficult since Nixon was in office." The crowd started gathering, neighbors in pajamas, kids peeking from windows. Karen was basking in the spotlight like it was her coronation. She whispers something to the driver, and next thing I know, they start hooking up my truck. So I did the only logical thing an old man can do in that moment. I climbed into it. Karen screams, "You can't do that." I grin, start the ignition, and the alarm goes off, that ridiculous old siren that plays Who Let the Dogs Out. The whole street starts laughing. Even one of the cops cracks a smile. Karen's face turns the color of expired ketchup. They still towed it. Had to shut off the alarm first, which took them 10 minutes. I just sat there in my driveway, barefoot, holding a cup of coffee like it was whiskey, watching my truck disappear into the night. But here's the thing Karen didn't know. I bought that tow yard 20 years ago. Just an old investment I never bothered to sell. My nephew runs it now. So the next morning, I drive down there in my beat-up sedan. The guys see me coming and wave. "Morning, boss," one of them says. "We got your truck back safe." I ask, "Did a lady in a white Lexus drop it off last night?" He nods. "Yeah, said it was a HOA order. Had a whole attitude about it." I smile. "Good. Don't touch it. We're gonna have some fun." That afternoon, Karen storms into the yard with 2 officers, yelling about impound rights and HOA bylaws. I'm sitting behind the counter with my feet up, sipping coffee. She freezes when she sees me. "What are you doing here?" I say, "Karen, I own the place. Welcome to my yard." Her jaw drops. The officers exchange looks, trying not to laugh. She says, "That truck needs to be released to the HOA." I point at the sign behind me. "No vehicle released without owner's consent." "Looks like the owner doesn't consent," I tell her. She starts stammering, turning red, pointing, calling me names that'd make a sailor blush. I just smile and say, "Tell you what, Karen, you pay the tow fee, storage fee, and emotional damage fee. and maybe I'll let you take a picture with it. The cops eventually escort her out. One of them pats me on the shoulder and says, "You made my week, sir." Later that week, I parked the truck back in my driveway. Same spot as always. Only difference was, I added a brand new decal on the tailgate, property of Toe King. The neighborhood threw a barbecue that weekend. Folks brought ribs, beer, laughter. Even Karen's husband showed up, sheepishly handing me a plate of cornbread like a peace offering. Karen didn't show. Word is, she tried to push for new bylaws at the next HOA meeting, but nobody voted with her. Seems the queen lost her crown. Now every time I start that old truck and hear the engine roar, I grin a little wider. Because it's not just about the truck. It's about standing your ground when someone tries to push you off it. Funny thing, though, a few weeks later, I got another letter from the HOA. This one said, "We'd appreciate if you'd consider parking the truck in your garage to maintain neighborhood aesthetics." I wrote back one sentence. "Appreciate your concern. Respectfully, no. Guess some habits die hard." So what do you think? Was I right to stand my ground? Or should I have just paid the fine and kept the peace? Backhand index pointing right. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe, and check out the full story on my channel, because this small town showdown, it's far from over.